midbrain. In the last class, we have seen the inferior colliculus part of the midbrain. Now coming to superior colliculus. The superior colliculus is a laminated mass of gray laminated mass having alternate layers of gray and white matter. This receives fibers from the visual cortex. This will receive fibers from the retina. This receives fibers from the spinal cord. And this also receives fibers from inferior colliculus. And the fibers which emerge from it, they go to spinal cord and spectrospinal tract. The brain stem has tectobulbar tract. And this also goes to cerebellum. As tectocerebellar tract. These are the afferent fibers coming to superior colliculus, and these are the efferent fibers coming out from the superior colliculus. The superior colliculus is an important cell station in spinovisual reflex. Spinovisual. Spinovisual reflex is turning of eyes and head in response to visual stimulus, and this starts from the retina. Let us try to trace the spinovisual reflex pathway. This starts from retina. The fibers go to optic tract. Then to optic chiasma. The fibers which start from retina, they go to optic nerve. Then through optic chiasma, the fibers will go to optic tract. And the optic tract goes to superior colliculus. And from the superior colliculus, two tracts start. The tectobulbar tract and tectospinal tract. Tectobulbar and tectospinal tract. The tectobulbar tract goes to the third, fourth and sixth cranial nerve nuclei. cranial nerve, nucleus. And third, fourth and sixth cranial nerve, they supply the extraocular muscles of the eyeball, which are meant for the movement of the eyeball. And the tectospinal tract terminates in spinal accessory nucleus, spinal accessory nucleus, and ventral gray column of cervical spinal segments. Cervical spinal segments. They supply the muscles of the neck and they help in movement of the head. This is the spinovisual reflex pathway. Now coming to the dorsal part, the cerebral peduncle. The dorsal part of the midbrain, the cerebral peduncle. The cerebral peduncle has three parts. The crus cerebri, most ventrally crus cerebri, then substantia nigra, and the tegmentum. The cerebral peduncle has three parts: the crus cerebri, substantia nigra, and tegmentum. The crus cerebri is a part which lies most ventrally. This is formed by the fibers, white fibers. It is situated ventrally. This part is the crus cerebri. This contains fibers. The middle two-thirds of this crus cerebri, middle two-thirds, is occupied by corticospinal and corticobulbar tract. Corticospinal and corticobulbar tract. The medial 1/6, this part, the medial 1/6 contains frontopontine fibers. Frontopontine fibers, as we know, they are part of corticoponticerebellar tract. The medial 1/6 is occupied by frontopontine fibers, and lateral 1/6 contains the temporopontine, paritopontine, and occipitopontine fibers. This forms the posterolateral boundary of interpeduncular fossa, and this is related to the third cranial nerve. Then comes the substantia nigra. Substantia nigra is a semi-linear mass of grey matter This appears as a pigmented structure, and this contains multipolar neurons having pigments, and this is related to extrapyramidal system. Now coming to the tegmentum. the tegmentum has different structure at different levels. The crus cerebral and substantia nigra, they have the same structure throughout the extent of midbrain, but the structure of tegmentum varies. And in true sense, this is the upward continuation of tegmentum of the bones. Tegmentum. To see the structures present in the tegmentum, we have to take sections at different levels. The first is at the level of inferior colliculus. Transverse section at the level of inferior colliculus. Inferior colliculus. This is a section. This part is the aqueduct, cerebral aqueduct. Now, in this region, we will see the grey matter and the white matter. The grey matter contains fourth nerve nucleus, and mesencephalic nucleus. The fourth nerve nucleus is situated ventral to the cerebral aqueduct. This is the fourth nerve. Fourth nerve. This lies ventrolateral to the cerebral aqueduct and dorsal to the medial longitudinal fasciculus. Dorsally, the elevation, this elevation is the inferior colliculus. This is inferior colliculus. Inferior colliculus, and just below the inferior colliculus, we know there is a superior cerebral peduncle, and the medial margin of the superior cerebral peduncle are connected by superior medullary vena. The fibers of fourth cranium now, they go dorsally and laterally and then medially, like this, and they cross in the median plane and emerge on the dorsal surface by piercing the superior medullary vena. In this way, the fourth cranial nerve is the only nerve which emerges from the dorsal surface of the brain stem. And when we try to see the functional component, this has the somatic efferent component. Functional component is somatic efferent, and this supplies the superior oblique muscle of the eyeball. Supplies superior oblique muscle of the eyeball. The white matter of midbrain at the level of inferior colliculus. White matter. This contains the lemnisci. All the lemnisci are present at this level. Here we will get the medial lemniscus. This is the medial lemniscus. Then there will be trigeminal lemniscus and spinal lemniscus. Trigeminal and spinal lemniscus. Now more dorsally towards the inferior colliculus we will get the lateral lemniscus. The lateral lemniscus finally merges with inferior colliculus. Now in this region we can also see the decussation of superior cerebral peduncle. The fibers of superior cerebral peduncle are coming from the cerebral nucleus, the nucleus dentatus. From cerebellum comes the tract is known as Dentato rubro thalamic tract. Dentato rubro thalamic tract. The tract starts from the nucleus dentatus present in the cerebellum, nucleus dentatus. Enters into the midbrain through the superior cerebral peduncle, decussates in the median plane. This is the decussation of the fibers of Dentato rubro thalamic tract. The decussation of superior cerebral peduncle. The fibers coming inside through superior cerebral peduncle, they decussate in the median plane and then they go to red nucleus and thalamus. Some of the fibers they terminate in red nucleus, but majority of the fibers they go up to the thalamus. Some of the fibers they descend down and terminate in reticular formation of the pons and medulla. The fibers are arising from nucleus dentatus. They traverse through superior cerebral peduncle, superior cerebral peduncle, decussate in the median, in the midbrain, and then they ascend. Some of the fibers they ascend to red nucleus. Some of the fibers they go to thalamus. The fibers which descend down, they end in reticular nuclei. This is Dentato rubro thalamic tract. Now, the midbrain at the level of inferior colliculus, we can see these structures. The dorsal elevation is the inferior colliculus. This is the cavity, the cerebral aqueduct, the ventral part, the crus cerebri and substantia nigra. The grey matter contains the fourth nerve nucleus, and these are the fibers of fourth nerve which go dorsally, cross the median plane and emerge on the surface by piercing the upper part of the superior medullary vein. And then there will be the important tracts, the lemniscal system, the medial lemniscus, the trigeminal and spinal lemniscus, and the lateral lemniscus. The lateral lemniscus becomes most dorsal structure and gradually it merges with the inferior colliculus. And besides that, we will also get the medial longitudinal fasciculus and the decussating fibers of superior cerebellar peduncle.